Okay, now that we have the salary data brought into the sheet, there are two things we want to do. First, we want to get rid of anyone who has this NA error here. That's because that means they're no longer looking for a job, so we want to filter those folks out. And the second thing we want to do is we want to figure out what a quote-unquote normal salary expectation is based on this candidate list. And we'll talk more about that in a second as well. Okay, first let's go ahead and filter out anyone who's no longer looking for a job. So to do that, go to the salary header here. Click on the little drop down arrow and then scroll all the way down at the bottom until you get to NA, and then just uncheck it by clicking it and hit OK. That automatically gets rid of anybody who had that sort of NA error. Okay, so now let's figure out who has a quote-unquote normal salary request. And what I mean by that is, if we're thinking about how much money all of these candidates are asking for in terms of salary, we don't really want to hire someone who's asking for way too much money, because that means they probably think really highly of themselves, or something strange is going on there. Or we don't want to hire someone who's asking for way too little money, because that might mean that there are problems that we don't know about. So we really do want to find somebody who's kind of got a normal salary request. But we don't know what that number is, because we don't know, based on all of these candidates, what quote-unquote normal salary would be. To do that, though, we can use a chart called a histogram. This is an example of a histogram. Basically what this does is it sort of charts how many people's salaries fall within different ranges. So you can see here on the left-hand side we have number of employees. This is just fake data of a company. And we can see here, this is their salary in tens of thousands. So we can see that between 40,000 and 50,000, there's almost 600 employees who have a salary in that range. Whereas between 90 and 100,000, there's only maybe 10 or so that have a salary within that range. And so this kind of gives you a sense of what a quote-unquote normal salary within this company is, which is somewhere between 40 and 50,000. We basically want to find the same data for our candidate list. To do that, what we're going to do is select the entire G column, the salary column, and then we're going to go to Insert and choose Chart. Now right now it's setting this up as a scatter chart. You can see that over here on the right. But to change that, you can just click the drop down arrow and choose histogram. Alright, now we have a histogram chart as we wanted. And we can immediately see with this data that there's a bump in the middle. Now your data may be different, let's be clear about that. But with this data we can see there's this bump in the middle, which means we've got about 30 candidates who have a salary between about 133,000 and 150,000. So that's a pretty good range. Now what we can do is start to actually use that knowledge to find a really good candidate. Okay, so now that we know this information, we can go ahead and use it. So I'm going to get this chart out of the way for now, and go up to where you see the salary filter, click there, go to filter by condition, and then where it says none, choose the drop down and scroll down to is between. You can close that down as well. Okay, so now we can put in the two values, so 133,000 and 150,000. Okay, so that's between the two values, and hit OK. And now we should have only candidates who fall in that range. So we're down to just a handful of candidates. That's fantastic. 34 rows now, so that's pretty good. All right, and now this chart doesn't really make any sense anymore, so you can go ahead and delete it. So you can click here and just choose Delete Chart. All right, now we have the filter for kind of a normal salary in place, and we're ready to move on to the next step. Thanks for watching.